I'm going to talk to you about coaching and the ADKAR change process. Coaching at its core is rooted in change. How to facilitate change with one person at a time. The 8 skills coaching model describes the skills and provides a roadmap for having a more successful coaching conversation in all sorts of situations, both formal and informal, up and down in the organization, and with various different personality types. ADKAR, on the other hand, is a framework for understanding change at an individual level, and as such, it's very synergistic to the 8 skills coaching model. The ADKAR model has 5 elements or objectives. It's useful to think of these elements as building blocks. All 5 elements must be in place for a change to be realized. Understanding ADKAR can help a coach a great deal when coaching an individual through any change initiative, from a major corporate change to improvement of personal abilities, like selling skills or territory management. It is particularly helpful when dealing with skill number 6, confront excuses and resistance. Because each step of the ADKAR model is a building block that builds one upon another, it can help identify the level at which resistance is coming from. It helps identify if there is a lack of awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, or reinforcement. The coaching effort should be directed to the lowest building block in the model in order to identify the root cause of the resistance. To better understand resistance, let's look at each level of the model. Awareness represents a person's understanding of the nature of the change, why the change is being made, and the risks of not changing. This correlates to the 8 skills coaching model. Skill number 2, define the topic and need, and skill number 3, establish impact. Awareness also includes information about the internal and external drivers that created the need for change, as well as what's in it for me. If the coachee lacks awareness, the coach needs to go back to skills number 2 and skills number 3 to better describe the topic and establish impact. Desire represents willingness to support and engage in change. Desire is ultimately about personal choice. It's influenced by the nature of the change and by an individual's personal situation and the intrinsic motivators that are unique to that person's individual behavioral style. If the coachee lacks a desire to change, the coach needs to better link the coachee's behavioral styles and needs to better establish impact. Knowledge represents the information, training, and education necessary to know how to change. Knowledge includes information about behaviors, processes, tools, systems, skills, job roles, and techniques needed to implement a change. If the coachee lacks knowledge, then the coach needs to adapt the plan in order for the coachee to gain knowledge about the skills and behaviors needed to implement the change. Ability represents the realization or execution of the change. Ability is turning knowledge into action. Ability is achieved when a person or a group has demonstrated capability to implement the change at the required performance level. Should the employee lack ability, then the coach needs to find safe ways for him or her to practice and improve those skills and abilities. Reinforcement represents those internal and external factors that sustain a change. External reinforcements could include recognition and rewards and celebrations that are tied to the realization of the change. Internal reinforcements could be a person's internal satisfaction with his or her own achievement, or other benefits derived from the change on a personal level. If the coach does not provide ongoing reinforcement, then the coachee may not sustain the change over time. The elements of the ADKAR model fall into the natural order of how one person experiences change. Desire cannot come before awareness, because it is the awareness of the need for change that stimulates our desire or triggers our resistance to that change. Knowledge cannot come before desire, because we do not seek to know how to do something that we do not want to do. Ability cannot come before knowledge because we cannot implement what we do not know. And reinforcement cannot come before ability because we can only recognize and appreciate what has been achieved. Placement of the ADKAR building blocks begins when the coach and coachee start to define the topic and the need. That's skill number 2 in the 8 skills coaching model. But they really come into play in skill number 6. From that starting point, the model provides a framework and sequence for managing the life cycle of ADKAR.